We're here with Associate Head Coach and Director of Player Personnel, Pat Mikesch, one day after Phase 2 of the USHL Draft. And Pat, overall, being inside the war room for that 5 hours, it seems like that you guys are pretty happy with the outcome.
We are. I mean, we thought the start went exactly how we had hoped. We were able to add some imports and experienced U.S. players to make sure our forwards were filled in because we lost some great players with Shilke Dry's Kyle leaving. So to bring in those kids and those imports that we needed was a key ingredient to making sure that we're competitive again next year.
Now, one thing that you guys did was really shore up that goaltender position with a couple of those picks, Hunter Miska and Jared Rutledge, and talk a little bit how important it was to fill those positions with all the turnover last season.
Well, it was, and I mean a little bit of speculation on whether Jared's going to be leaving the University of Michigan or not, but we're excited about the opportunity to work with him. Hunter leaving the development program as well, and trying to figure out what the next step is for him. And there's always a little bit of wild card when it comes into drafting anybody into our league, but now the recruiting part starts to make sure they want to be part of our organization.
Now, one thing I noticed being inside the war room with you guys is, from the most part, other than the fourth round, you guys really let the board come to you, and that's really important in situations like that.
Well, you have kids you target, and you have to have a style of player that you want to find at different parts of the draft, and we needed to add some size, and we were able to do that with Stoik and Schneider, and we really feel they're going to be key ingredients for us up front as well next year. But then after that, there was a lot of making sure that we have the right type of players for the future as well. We were able to grab Christopher Brown, Luke Boffia. These are top 96s that will compete for spots on our team this year, but most likely they're going to be kids that are really going to make us better down the road.
Now, with so many picks in this Phase 2 of the draft, how important is it to also shore up next season, but also your future?
Well, I mean, the 97 draft, which we had the day before, we still had 4 more spots to fill on our 97 list. So, I mean, we were filling those pieces in. I'm really happy with a couple of defensemen we got there, a couple of key forwards as well. So the draft did come to us. Kids that we had targeted were there. We got to add some key ingredients and, you know, kids that really fit the style of game we have.
You talk about your 97 list and a list that's very impressive with Parcells, Smith, Militek, Darcy, those guys that you picked in Phase 1. Then you come back, you pick guys like Brown, Bender. You know, talk a little bit about your comfort. Overhart too, you know, with the 11 guys you have on your 97 list. Talk a little bit about how comfortable you guys are with your future.
Well, I think that there's a lot of key ingredients there. The one thing we probably really wanted to try to find was the right goalie in that mix, and we missed on that. And so, I mean, that'll be a key focus for us going forward, is making sure we're on top of all the goalies nationally. But defensively and with our forwards, you know, lots of kids that, you know, can get up and play. We grabbed some size with our defense, which is a key ingredient here, and then just some true goal scorers. So ended up grabbing 3 Michigan high school players, which is a little bit of a stretch for us, a little bit different, but they were kids that really fit our system.
Now, leading into camp, June 20th through the 23rd, taking a look at, or excuse me, the 16th through the 20th, taking a look at this list. You guys have 45 players on that list. How tough is it going to be a Green Bay Gambler next year?
Oh, it'll be very competitive, especially up front. And we have some forwards that were on our team this year that they understand that they're there fighting for a spot and trying to be part of our team again for next year. We want to make sure our depth is at a little different level than it was last year. We got beat down by injuries last year and probably weren't prepared enough for that. So we think we have competition for every position this year, right from all of our forwards, our defense, and our goaltending. But at the same time, we got some key ingredients of those kids coming to camp that are going to be great parts of our future. Now,
again, looking inside the war room, you guys are very methodical on your picks. You guys had a big draft plan. You had Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. You know, talk a little bit how important it is to have a backup plan just in case if a kid decides to leave early to college or a kid decides to go a different route. You guys are really in a good situation now with the guys that you picked to have a backup plan.
Well, you're in a vulnerable position. I mean, we could lose 3 players this summer to college. So we need to make sure we have those spots filled. Some of them are filled by younger players. Some are filled by even experienced players who will be trying out to compete against those same players here at camp. But it's having that process. I mean, when we look at it, we look at the type of player we're looking for. And so there might be 3 or 4 kids, and we'll take whoever the best available is out of that group to fill each positional type.
Now, another team that I kind of want to touch on, and we were talking about this earlier, is the Sioux City Musketeers. They really put themselves in a good position. They have Jake Gensel coming back. as a leading rookie goal scorer, and then they put together a pretty good draft. Talk a little bit about other teams in the USHL and what your thoughts were.
Well, the whole league does a good job. I mean, right from our central scouting with Rick Comley, he puts all of the pieces in place so we're aware of what kids we should be following. And then organizations are committed to the scouting process, and the ones who do the best job are rewarded. Sioux City has definitely done that over the last year and a half here now. You look at a team like Youngstown, Dubuque, Fargo, Sioux Falls. These teams that are still playing at the end of the year are playing for a purpose. I mean, they do a great job to make sure they have all those pieces in place.
And then let's touch a little bit on your 96 birth dates. Bjork, Boffia, Brown, Gardner, Capula, who you picked last year in the futures draft, Freddie, Schmaltz. I mean, the list keeps going on and on of really good 96 birth dates on this team. Talk a little bit your comfort level on your 96 list.
Well, it's a great group of kids. Some have already played here. Some are going to be key parts for next year. Some are going to be key parts a year away. But it's a great group of kids. We have a good diversity there with Cam Hackett, an elite 96 goalie. We have some very strong defenders. Jake Linhart's already played here. Nick Schmaltz and Freddie Olofsson up front have already played here. So we've got a lot of key ingredients. We've added a couple more, and we try to mirror that image with that 97 class that we put behind it.
Now, one last question for you, Pat. Looking at the entire draft, looking ahead to camp, one problem in this league at points with different tournaments and other injuries and suspensions and whatnot, depth is very important. Talk a little bit about your comfort level with the depth of this team moving forward.
Well, it's a strong group, and we need to have affiliate players who can play during the season. I mean, we'll expect to lose probably 3 or 4 players again for the World Junior Challenge like we've done the last couple of years. So you have to have those players in place because those games are important. We had to play a 5-game stretch last year during the World Junior Challenge. We were lucky enough to go 4-1 because of our affiliate players being able to step in and play. So we don't want to, go through a lull in the season where we're not ready to go.
All right, thanks, Pat.
Yeah.